So let's learn to approximate numbers to the nearest thousand. But before we do that, let's just try to revise how to approximate to the nearest 10, and then we'll see how everything else follows. So let's say we have a number like maybe 4865. So it's 4865. Okay. So let's just look at it in various ways. So we know right now I can reinterpret this number as 486 tens, right? So if I have 486 tens, I'm going to skip since I want to approximate to the nearest 10. So I want to get this to the nearest 10. I'm going to count in tens, and this I can interpret as 486 tens. So if I have 486 tens, so I can maybe start out with 485 tens. So here's my number line, and I'll have 485 tens, then I'll have 486 tens, then I'll have, this is a 6, I'll have 487 tens, and then I can stop because I don't need any more. And then you can see that 4865 is right over here. This is supposed to be in the middle. This is 4865. It's 5 units away from 70 and also 5 units away from 60. So we know that we have a convention that when you're in the middle and if the last digit, so if the last digit is 5, then we're going to round up, and the number that we are going to conclude this is going to be equal to 4870, and this is using the convention that when we're rounding to the nearest 10, we look at the units digit, and if it's 5, then we round up, and 6 converts to 7. Now let's take the same number, and now let's take 4865, and now we want to round to the nearest 100. So if I want to round to the nearest 100, so now we are again we can think of this as this number, the first two digits as 48 hundredths. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the number line again. So this is my number line. And now I'm going to have, since I'm dealing with hundreds, so I'm going to have, here I'm going to have 48 hundredths. And here I'm going to have 49 hundredths. I probably don't need to go anywhere else. So now here in the middle is 4850, and now you can see that 4865 is the number right over here somewhere. So this number is 4865, so that means it's closer to 4900. So when I approximate to this, to the nearest 100, I'll get 4900. Okay, now please note, I could have done it in a different way. I could have said, oh, I'm approximating to the nearest 100, so I'm going to look at the tens place, which is to the right of the hundreds place. So I'm going to look at the tens place. The tens place is 6, so I'm going to round up, and I'm going to get 4900. The 8 will go to 9. I could have played the same game because I was rounding to the nearest 10 earlier on. So I'm going to look at the units place, which is to the right of the tens place. Since the units place is greater than or equal to 5, I'm going to round up 486 to 487, and then obviously I'm going to put a 0 because I'm only counting in tens. Now I could do the same thing if I want to maybe approximate 4865 to the nearest 1000. I want to do it to the nearest 1000. Maybe I should do it on the next page. So let me go to the next page and do 4865 to the nearest 1000. So I'll say I'm going to do it to the nearest 1000. So you can again see I am going to be skip counting by thousands. So this I can see is just 4,000. This is just 4,000 right over here. So let me draw the number line. So I only have to worry about 4,000 and 5,000. So here's 4,000, here's 5,000, here is 4,500, halfway in the middle. And now I can write 4865 is somewhere over here. So now you can see it's closer to 5,000. So I can say 4865 to the nearest 1,000 is equal to 5,000. So we are applying the same principle here. Now please note that I could have done it the same way as I did earlier. Since I'm doing it to the nearest 1,000, I'm going to look at the hundreds place. The hundreds place, which is to the right of the thousands place. So the hundreds place is an 8, which is greater than or equal to 5. So then I'm going to round up the 4 to 5 and put zeros to get 5,000. Okay, so hopefully this should be clear how we can round a number to the nearest 1,000. So for example, if we have a number maybe like 5, 4, 5, 5, 2, and I want to do it to the nearest 1,000. So let me do to the nearest 1,000. Again, I want to do it to the nearest 1,000. So now note these are 54 thousands. So that means my number line will have 54,000 and it will have 55,000 because I'm counting by thousands. And now if I have to do it to the nearest 1,000, I have to look at the hundreds place. The hundreds place is a 5, which means I have to round up. So this to the, if I say to the nearest 1,000, is going to be equal to 55,000. And the reason why it has to be 55,000 is because this number, which I've circled in the red, is greater than or equal to 5. So I have to round up 54 to 55. Another way you can do the same thing is looking at the middle point. The middle point of this is 54,500, and this number, which is 54,552, lies to the right of the middle, which means it's closer to 55,000, and that's what I should approximate it to. Okay.